Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Talking Stick Show. So, this week we're going to be talking about combined healing therapy. So, I'd firstly like to welcome the crew and the team to the party. So, we have the Laura Massey. Hello.
Hi everybody. Great to be here. I love this topic.
Yes. And we have Amy Kruzic.
Hello.
Hello. And we have the great David Ellis.
Hello, guys.
And we have Bob Anderson as well onto the show. Hello, Bob.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Hello, brother. So let's firstly, I think, talking about the words combined healing therapy. Before we go into everything, let's talk about those words and what they mean. So I'm going to pass on the talking stick to the Laura Massey to talk about what combined means in healing therapy at the start of this show. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay, so combined is something that's come from David Ellis and Andrew Bartzis. It's their modular system. I'm not sure what you called it when you first started out, David, but we've called it combined healing therapies because it is a combination of different types of therapies. The whole idea being to get a client into a very relaxed state of being through different therapies, leading one from another. So we might do 5 or 6 different therapies in a day, and that allows your nervous system and particularly your parasympathetic, which is holding all those programs, all that conditioning, and a lot of the trauma, actually allows the body, because trauma is held cell deep, actually allows the body to finally let down. So one-off sessions of any of these are great and better than nothing. But what I've now found, I think that we've done 4 lots, I think already, Dale, this year of combined therapies, is the results, as Bob and Richard, who's coming on later, will tell you, the results are astounding. So yes, you can do individual sessions. You can go and get a craniosacral therapy. You can have a go on a Lucia light. You put these modalities one after the other with maybe short breaks in between. It does have amazing results because the body is finally able to relax, and we're able as practitioners, we're not here to heal people, we co-create with the client. So we're here to co-create with the client the release of trauma, which leads to healing. And this doesn't just last a day or however many days they do the treatment for. This is an ongoing process that will help the body let go of trauma and let go of the programs that hold the trauma as well. So the bit about it being combined is absolutely what makes it a system. And an amazing one it is.
There's something I want to share here, which I've not shared with anybody yet. But so I went through the combined therapy system, I think 3 months ago, 3.5 months ago it was. And as I went through them, the combination of back to back to back, and like Laura said, the programs don't have any chance and eventually just give up and allow the infinite healing to come through. So for me, there was a big realization of something in my reality I was avoiding and ignoring. It actually made me stop and think that my life isn't right in this way anymore. And I was ignoring it for ages. And the combination of going to the float, the hyperbaric chamber, and so on, and the cranio, it started opening me up to realizing things in my environment. It allowed the mind to slow down in such a way that I could pick up pattern recognition and see where I needed to change within my life. And that was going through divorce. I felt a sadness which was held within me, which I was hiding for so long, that this isn't right anymore. I can't be living like this. And I got quite sad after because that feeling was there, but the combine just allowed me to explore it and open up. So that was a start for me for my divorce process. Nothing against her, but just my own processing was I realized that I was ignoring this for so long, and this combined treatment allowed me to know where I need to go forward.
I suppose I should say something here.
Go ahead, bro.
The combined healing therapies are the result of us getting tired of doing just only speculative stuff, but doing also the bridge needed to be built between what is scientific and what we are doing. So we chose the therapist specifically because they amplify the effect of the other. That's the thing that people miss. So as an example, if you are doing infrared therapy as an example, which is a toxin release, really, you might want to go float in, a salt bath, for instance, afterwards, due to the fact that salt extracts toxins from your body. You get the general idea. So I think in terms of the methodology, because I actually met with an oncologist, a nurse who's an oncologist recently, and she was asking me to explain it to her in medical terms and in scientific terms, right? And I told her the infrared is a detoxifier. It's not a matter of whether it detoxifies or not. We know it does. Too many studies have been done on infrared therapy. We know what salt does because that's been used for what hundreds, thousands of years. If you went into a salt bath and you do experience sense deprivation, it might prepare you, as an example, when you rinse off, because your pores are open, because you've just been through infrared therapy and a salt bath. Your pores are open, the pores in your skin are open, to get oxygen pushed through it, like in an hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber, as an example. Do you see what I mean? You would not be as receptive to hyperbaric oxygen therapy if you didn't go through an infrared chamber. You guys get the general idea?
Right.
Yes.
Right. So you go into the hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber and your pores are open and basically you are open. And guess what happens? You receive a lot more benefits from that therapy than somebody who just came in fresh, basically. It's not only oxygen to the lungs, but oxygen comes through your skin as well. A lot of people do not know that. So let's say that you went through this process and you had oxygen therapy pushed through everything. I'm going to guess that you're going to be a little bit more happier than, the normal average guy, because you've shed a bunch of toxins. The skin is the biggest organ of detoxification in your body. It's not when you go to the bathroom, right, and defecate. It's not when you urinate. Your skin sweating is your biggest option for detoxification, which is why people say go exercise. It gives you lots of benefits. Okay, so let's say you got oxygen pushed into you, as an example. You might want to come out and get some craniosacral therapy, due to the fact that I'm going to guess you're really relaxed at this point, right? You got a whole bunch of stuff shut on you. Dale made a very interesting remark about the programs have no chance. It's not only the programs have no chance, bacteria has no chance. Everything that encumbers you has no chance of surviving all of those things, right? So let's say you went through that, you go into a craniosacral therapy massage, and which basically is a massive energy and structural alignment for you, right? We all know the benefits of craniosacral therapy. If you all don't know, there are too many benefits to give here, but it's it's a nervous system reboot.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, it's a nervous system rebooting.
Mhm.
And so you go from that and you say, oh, what should I do next? And why don't I go lie on a mat and get all grounded with myself? Okay. EMF therapy is your next option. By that time, you should be near to dribbling, I'm thinking. Right? You should be near to dribbling, I'm thinking. And we take you, because we're not finished with you yet. Oh, no, we're not. And we put you under Lucia light therapy, because there's no point on staying on Earth when you're like that, is there? No. We're going to give you the psychic psychonaut experience. You are now the astronaut that we're blasting off into space. Lucia light therapy, right? And then we package you really neatly and we roll you out the door. And we set you onto a path of change and whatever else. The aftercare service is what was added after, because a lot of people would like to hold on to that feeling, right? And so we have aftercare service and so on. But you could just come back and like we set you through again. So for those of you who are wondering, what is the benefit of the system? The physical benefits is detoxification. It realigns your system. It oxygenates your blood. Oxygenated blood means that your brain is working better. Your brain is working better means you have access to the rest of the centers, which means your endocrine system. Okay, I'm going too fast. Let me slow that down. You have an oxygenated body. Your brain uses oxygen as food and glucose. Okay? When your brain gets it, you are overall happier. Okay? It means that you're able to absorb nutrients even from your food. It means that your endocrine system, that it would be your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, hypothalamus gland, thyroid, thymus. I'm hearing an echo. Thymus, spleen, adrenals, your reproductive system, all of these things are going to start work better because your brain is sending out the correct signals and your nervous system is going to be calm, which means that you could go to Walmart and not come out feeling violated. So you not come out feeling violated. So these are the benefits to your system. But here's the thing. Forget about all these things because all these things are whatever, right? Blah. Imagine your mind, the state of your mind. Imagine understanding that you just got a reset. Because with that reset, you can do a lot of things. You can change your life. You could see things that you haven't seen before. Like, for instance, I started this show off seeing the gentleman here straight on. Now I'm seeing him sideways.
This is what it does.
If I were to do combined therapies, I would things would straighten up for me.
Bob, it might be a good idea if you come out and come back in quickly. Then that might will let you straight back in.
Oh, so it's not only me. You're
No,
off.
Bob's definitely off the wall.
Yes, I Bob, you're on the side.
Definitely off the wall. So there are other things, David, that we haven't really spoken much about that Dale and I do and Andrew does in combined.
There.
We have been doing. So we bring our own particular style of healing into the combined where we might feel it's required, and where the client's happy to do that. So Dale does a sort of we both do a soul surgery. Dale is obviously the master of soul surgery, and we have combined. I do some ancestral balancing. We've also been known to do some ancestral singing on some of the modalities. We'll do that. The other thing that we do is we leave the client alone for a while to experience maybe the matte and the light, or just the light, so they can have their own particular journey with the Lucia light. So there's also always new stuff coming on, and David is the absolute master of the cutting edge technology. We know that because he disappears into his cupboard quite a lot. So we are really privileged to be able to have David to look at equipment and what we can use. So we're always looking at, okay, what's a new piece of equipment that we can use or add to what we're doing. And we do have regular discussions about this with David about, what can we add to the combined to enhance people's experiences. And that's always going to be an ongoing thing. As Dale and I get more experience doing the combined in the UK. And then, as somebody's put in the chat, yes, we are coming to the US next year at some stage. There's no date's been decided yet, but we definitely want to come. We'd love to train people in this as well, along with David and Andrew, because for us, the results we've been seeing and continue to see means that this has got to be one of the healing systems of the future. Absolutely.
So what I see you, David, as is like the bit of the Wim Hof, that you're the person
Yeah.
who's blending the spirituality to the science, and that's what he
Yes.
does with his Wim Hof technique. And I feel like that has to be done in this day and age. That people who don't have much form of spiritual knowledge, but they have some form of scientific knowledge, to be able to see all the data which is put in front of them, to see what they look like when they come out and say, "Ha, there's something going on here." And this is obviously what you've been doing, David. You've been connecting the spirit to the science.
Yeah, the thing is, I think a lot of people are under the delusion that things that are going on with them are complicated. They might be very, very simple, but unless you show them the data, they're not going to understand what's going on. So, as an example, because I like to experiment on everything, right? When you are feeling encumbered, your body's in a particular state, and you are going to have a different readings from somebody who is in optimal health. That is a statement of fact, right? So we call that science. What about the people that are claiming that they have depression and it's because of some ancestral stuff? How can you prove something like that? But you can if you really wanted to. You absolutely can. Because an EEG machine will tell you exactly what centers of the brain are being encumbered and what are not being encumbered. Okay. So for people who are experiencing negative, inverted commas, spiritual experiences, as an example, the part of the brain that really is lit up is there's a part of the brain you call the limbic region of the brain. Okay. For a lot of people, that's where hell resides. Okay. That's where hell resides, and it lights up. Okay. So somebody who is spiritually aware, I shouldn't say spiritually aware. I should say more expanded in their consciousness. You will see more light coming from the frontal lobe of their brain. Okay, neural activity coming from there. The parietal lobe of the brain is more the back of the brain as well, is more the animal side of the brain. Okay, and it shows up. It might be something as simple as that. Right, and the Lucia light, what it really does, it creates more cortical stimulation for the front part, right? So it literally drags you into a more expanded state. I think I did an interview with Alison on that. It drags you to a more expanded state. And guys, it's as simple as that. It's the same like when you hang around people who are expanded consciousness, you become expanded as a result of frequency entrainment. Okay, if you hang out with, I don't know, in bars. Yeah, if you go to the local dive, and that's where you're going to be hanging out. Your frequency, by natural selection, will adapt to the environment around you. If you hang around with people who are spiritually expanded, your frequency entrains itself to the frequency that is around you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Amy.
Go ahead, Dale. Go ahead.
No, you go. Go ahead.
No, I just had a question. Let's just say an example would be, I'm more of like a science person, and I don't understand the ancestral balancing or the soul surgery. How do you explain to somebody that would like the other therapies because they understand that the scientific data?
You would just say some sort of energy healing. You wouldn't go into specifics because sometimes it can put people off. The more you say if you have someone who's interested in the hyperbarics, interested in the science, as soon as you mention the word psychic surgery to them, it can start creating a wall for them. So even in the healing, they'd put up more of a block and resistance. So sometimes you don't need to be specific with what you're saying. It's some sort of energy healing, some sort of manipulation healing in a positive way. Throw a stick to yourself, God.
So, how do you want this explained? From a metaphysical perspective to a scientific perspective, or from a scientific perspective to a metaphysical perspective? Which one?
Well, how about science to metaphysical? Because I already know, let's just say I already know the scientific aspects that you're doing.
Okay. Shall we role play? You know how I like role play. So I'm going to be
Come on. Yes.
I'm going to be the guru of I don't know. Give me something.
The light, hero of the light.
I'm guru of the light. So I'm now going to be the guru of the light. So yes, my child, tell me, how can I be of assistance to you?
Well, I'm not understanding when someone says included in the package is soul surgery, or we're going to work with your ancestors. How is that going to hurt? Is that going to hurt me?
Peace. Okay.
'Cause I am not very spiritual. Let's just say.
My child,
Yes.
every thought that you have, every feeling that you have, every emotion, it produces an electrical impulse in your mind. We call it neural activity.
Yeah,
And so your experience of the world is electrical frequency. Do you understand?
I understand.
And as a result of that, every electrical field, it resonates an electromagnetic field, which we servants of the light call your aura. The aura is visible under certain conditions, such as Kirlian photography or in an ionized field. Is that what you scientifically call it?
Yes, we do.
The aura field is readily discernible, right? And so when we say psychic surgery, we're talking about servants of the light who are trained to not only discern the frequency changes that you are experiencing, but to regulate them through co-regulation. And so as you enter into our soul surgery, what we are doing is co-regulating your frequency, which may be sporadic, such as electrical fields that have gone out of whack, such as a circuit with a battery that is dying, such as your iPhone that I already see is not working. I have the psychic feeling that your iPhone doesn't work correctly. And so this is what it is. It is the co-regulation of energies. And so, my child, we ask that you suspend your doubt, because even in your doubt, it's causing an electrical disturbance in and of yourself. The doubt that is outside is also the doubt that is inside. And so we regulate that via co-regulation and frequency entrainment, so that all the electrical activity in your body is regulated in such a way that you become healthier. Also, that'll be $5 for the advice.
Donation of $9.99.
Wow. Well, wow.
And
That was
And the ancestral balancing, guru of the light?
Ancestral balancing. It is like when people choose to say, I am alone, I stand alone in this world. Okay, that is interesting in and of itself. You, my child, are a representation of everything that has come before you. When broken down to your core essences, everything that I look at right now was donated to you by those that came before. From
So you can
the
blame
need,
them.
from the need to wear glasses that's on your face right now, right? Everything, every character trait has been donated from people that have come before. You are the result of the input of several generations. To say that these generations are not present is wrong and a fallacy and ethically incorrect. You are a representation of your mother, your mother's mother, your mother's mother before this. As a descendant of theirs, you are still in communication with these people on a molecular level for the very simple reason that every expression that you have, your smile, your thought process, everything has been coded to you from these different generations. You invent new neural activity. There are a lot of people in this world who are not contributing to the lineage, okay? Because they feel that they stand alone. There is no benefit, psychologically speaking, in believing that you are alone in anything, because then you are truly alone. And if you are truly alone, what is the point of this life? So, from a scientific point of view, you are not alone. All those cells that you have, you do not claim them as your own. They were given to you. Okay? The ancestors are very much with you. And so when we do ancestral clearing, what we are doing is the same process that we did with regard to the electrical field. We are trying to instruct DNA and RNA what is positive and what is negative. Ancestral curse is just simply what has been handed down to you, which does not serve your higher good. Okay? And so a lot of people believe, well, I'm stuck with this. I'm always going to have eyesight problems. I'm always going to have this ailment. I'm always going to have that ailment. That position is a position of defeat. It is not a position of success. It is not a position that is positive. It is a position of defeat. If you have accepted everything that has been handed down to you without even the attempt to remove it, control it, or integrate it, then you are not better than a ship that is on an ocean without any paddles floating along. So you ask, how can I control it? And I say to you, how can you not? You're controlling it right now. Every thought that you have, all your traits, you're trying to control who you are. Which part of you is Laura and which part of you is Laura's mom? You can change your future if you really try. For that piece of advice, I charge $10.
Wow. That was a really good role play.
Bravo.
So, yes, well done, David.
Woo, that was wow.
We give our power away to you, Guru.
Yeah,
Very
very good.
I like the way you slowed down your speaking. like we were all a bit,
Well, I was in
Understand you.
trance.
Bob, what did you think of the Guru? What was your thoughts?
The Guru was amazing. I was in a trance myself, and I was
Yeah,
just like,
right?
I've just come out of it now.
We've signed a contract with David, $1,000
The
a
next
month.
time I come on the show,
That's
I
it.
am definitely coming with my turban.
He's emptied my bank
Yeah.
account and everything.
Right?
In 10
Wow.
minutes.
That was
Good
great.
show. Yeah, that was brilliant. That
was great.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there is a scientific basis for these things. It's just a matter of what you see and what you don't see. And a lot of people don't see that stuff, right? But we know these things to be true. We know these things to be true. You are not You are not yourself alone. You are the representation of everybody that came in to add it to you. So your ancestral curses are literally hardwired onto you.
It's all in the DNA, isn't it? That's
Correct.
where we carry. That's where we carry the ancestral debt and so on.
And we can change the DNA as we go
Mhm.
along, and we can change the frequency and everything, and that's how we can.
And for those people who are doubting this, you just had somebody inject a bunch of stuff into your arm in the last 3 years that changes your RNA. You don't think you could change your DNA? Seriously? Because that's an RNA medicine. That is an RNA medicine.
Oh, I've just seen a whole new can of worms open.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You just, for the last 3 years, for those of you all who, went down that road, you got something put into your arm that changes your RNA. You do know this, right? That, I mean, like y'all read the research, right? Okay, probably we didn't read the research. But it changes your RNA. Right. A lot of people think that, listen, you can change your ancestral curses and your DNA. There are a lot of people. Let me explain something to you. Do you see David right now? My DNA, when I was younger, I was extremely thin. I need to get y'all a picture, but then I know y'all are going to laugh and I'll never put it down. I was extremely thin. Right? And I say thin, I mean like rib showing kind of thin, right? And I decided, no, not doing it. And so when I decided to start weightlifting, it forced a change in the body at the cellular level. It forced it, right? And so you can absolutely change your lot in life. There are a whole bunch of people that should be on walkers suffering from arthritis. You see them walking around, spinning cartwheels in the backyard and stuff like that. You can change who you are at any point in time.
And a lot of the equipment we use, like the PMF mat, actually addresses cell dysfunction, doesn't it, David?
Correct.
Just a quick one, David. Do you know the Lucia light? Does it run on the scalar waves then? Is it scalar waves? Is this the thing that...
Here's what yes, actually. The short answer to your question is yes, but basically from a scientific point of view, the light is not only, it's like the hemisync that has been added to the system. You're thinking that the light that you're seeing, the light is just a yellow and a white light. It's halogens.
Yes.
Your brain creates the colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call it, yeah.
Because the light is coming through your skull. So your brain has to make sense of what it is seeing. But it's reflecting the stuff that's inside your mind. But because the Lucia light is using a particular flicker rate, it is breaking up those things that are inside there, that are barriers. A lot of people walk around. The funny thing about it is this is what happens. You have people who are walking around this earth right now with a traffic jam in their head all the time. They don't, it's the new normal, so they think it's normal. It's not normal. And then they go to a meditation center, or they go on vacation, or they go to a retreat, and they come out floating, and they're wondering, oh my God, I just want this feeling to stay. Right? Let me explain something to you. They want this feeling. This is how you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel like floating. You're supposed to feel unencumbered. You're supposed to feel like, oh, today I'm just going to fly to Walmart. I'm not taking the car, right? You're supposed to feel that way. Okay, but a lot of people have and it's like, wait, when that traffic jam of neurons ends up in the front cortex of your life, it's like a traffic jam. What the Lucia light is doing is bombarding light through that area. Your mind creates the colors. The colors, as you can see, that are separating inside the light, is breaking up the constant neural activity and clearing the path that's inside there. Now, when I say clearing the path, I don't mean it's making you dumb. It's actually realigning. It's aligning. It's aligning. For those of you who have seen the air deck, it gives your brain regular function. I'm going to probably try to share my screen.
Does it align your chakra system while it's doing that and all? Does it work on all your chakras?
Yes,
it's going through your brain. It's actually working.
The light literally works as a psychic surgeon as well. So the light,
that's what I was thinking. Is it going? It's going to different layers. It's going on the layers, and each layer is obviously. That's what I was going to. That's what I was going to say. It is like a psychic surgeon. So obviously, when you was doing the work with the Lucia light on the levels which was going at, it was like you was pulling hooks out and certain things which I could feel. But then he was also working on other layers where he was working on the chakras and he was working on my energy field. There was all these different layers where the light's doing that itself. So it's actually...
So it works with your energetic field and your aura. But what we do is we have the magnetic therapy, which allows the aura and the energy and chakras to actually start projecting further out. So there's more of a healing. So when you've got all the magnets on the client as well, all of their chakras and all of their energy field comes even further out. So it's always working in conjunction of the energy field, the body. The actual Lucia light is a sentient, actual being who's part of a collective of lights, and they actually work as a surgeon and work with you. And there's moments in time where you're in this orchestra moment with the light, and the light knows what's needed in the moment, and it tells you to do one thing just to push the energy through in a unique way, or Laura in the back doing cranial. So it's a uniqueness of all the different things. It's fucking brilliant.
It is magic.
Yeah.
It's magic. It is magic.
Is there different settings, or is there just one setting?
Yeah, no, different programs. Loads of programs.
Sorry, Laura, go ahead.
No, you say, Dale. There's loads of programs,
I remember going back and forth with David when I first started witnessing the programs. I messaged him and he was like, try this one. There was literally like 50 or 60 I ended up having to go through. And I was like, right, try, what was it? The Psychonaut one. And there's a few ones what stood out for you.
The
Firefly.
Do you pick the programs for the person, or do they?
No, at the beginning we need to pick the programs for the individual, and there's a safety reason for that, because a lot of people are walking around and they don't know that they have epilepsy.
Yes. So when we do the start, so with every single body who comes under the Lucia light, we offer the start of like a 2-minute program just to see how they're doing. This 2-minute programs goes through many of the rhythms and cycles of all of them at once. So it's not as intense, but they get a feel for what it's like, and you can get a feel for whether they're ready for more intense one or they just a starter and so on.
Which one did you use on me, Dale?
I've had a person that's had the reaction to it. Immediately, right away if you're having a reaction to it or not. Like it's absolutely undeniable, and it's not something you can just fake or imitate either. Okay, like the body starts to tremble, their face changes colors. There's all sorts of things that happens right away. But then there are the nervous people who are so nervous they're expecting that something negative to happen. But the light, the 2-minute section that you're using on the light, generally will diffuse that right away.
Guys, can I share my screen to show the audience what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try to share my screen. I'm not quite sure. Social connector. Which one is it? Combined service. There we go. If this is your brain without light. Here, that's an EEG mapping of your brain without light. This is what happens under the Lucia light. This is what I was describing early on. Okay? You see the peaks and the lows. It has created a syncopated rhythm so that your thoughts are lined up. So there's a policeman there helping you. I'm going to use the analogy here, helping you regulate the flow of electrical activity that is happening inside the mind. And this is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about the ability to take this jumbled mess of peaks and lows and make it into a higher frequency regulated stream of consciousness. Does that make sense? And so that's what the light does from a brain perspective. But what the effect it has for you as an individual? The traffic jam is gone, right? You want to get rid of it.
This is what I was just trying to tell you about. The light takes care of a lot of those anxiety-based people.
Mm. Yep. Does this last like, okay, they're done with the therapies and I'm going to go back to work. So does that on the right stay with them for a while or forever?
It does stay with them for a while. Right, but the fact of the matter is, this is what we have. That's why we have aftercare service. You need to be able to return to this thing, utilizing like a meditative technique or hemisync technique and so on. Right, you need to be able to return to this kind of thought pattern, because somebody who is operating in this kind of spectrum here, this kind of mapping, is how should I say, neurally efficient. Okay.
And we call it
effect. Sorry.
Go ahead, Laura. Go ahead.
In effect, we're teaching new neural pathways.
Correct.
Yeah, neuroplasticity. So that.
And so right away we get into the benefits of the Lucia light. Absorbing. Go ahead, Andrew.
And neuroelasticity. Let's say you have somebody that's been traumatized, and they're going back to the traumatized neural pathways. This will help lessen the use of the negative pathways and reinforce new pathway creations out of them.
Because the trouble is, as David was saying, people are so used to the traffic jam in their heads. They're so used to the monkey mind, they actually don't know. They don't realize what it can be like without it.
Right. An endless cycle of internal brain detours that never get them to the end.
Yeah. And that's why it's such an awakening thing for them when they come and do the combined therapies.
And we call it the lightgasm, when people go through that lightgasm moment, and you see people's faces after they've gone through the combined therapy, and you're like, holy shit, like, look how well you look how happy you look. There's like a different glow and a light about them, because when they first come into the system, you can see parts of them where there's so much shadow within the brain, or there's just shadow parts all around the body. But towards the end, they've actually got that fulfillment of light. The light's been able to go to those darker points, the darker nerves, the traumas, and so on. So seeing them afterwards, it's like a holy shit, isn't it, guys? Where you're like, their face after, you're like, wow, you look so well. And everyone around them, when they go home, they're like, wow, what have you done? What's happened to you?
You see this diagram on the screen right now?
Mm-hmm.
This diagram shows you what the Lucia light does. You see that first benefit, decreases oxidative stress. For those of you who don't know what oxidative stress is, it is the beginning of most kinds of cancers, in case you're wondering. Okay? Right? And it's the beginning of most kinds of cancers that are stress-related, right? Because there are many triggers for cancer. And I think it's very underrated that a lot of people think that the way the world is not going to make you sick. Okay? So the second benefit is that it's relaxing and centering. Well, we just discussed that with the EEG brainwave pattern. It regulates circadian rhythm. For those of you who don't know what circadian rhythm is, it's when you fall asleep, when you wake up. So a lot of people are insomniacs. I cannot believe that a lot of people are insomniacs. And those that aren't insomniacs, they don't sleep very deeply. They don't. Because it regulates circadian rhythm, it improves gene function, genetics function. We just spoke about DNA. I think you would want the good parts of DNA and RNA expressing themselves, and not the negative parts. And for those of you who keep taking medicines that mess with your RNA, please, I'm not going to say it. Consider what you are doing. Okay? Increases motivation. Well, obviously, there are two ways to increase motivation in terms of human activity. You could do the cheerleader thing, like with the pom-poms. Let's go to you. You could do that, or you could simply go to the source of all motivation, which is the mind and how it expresses itself. Does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There goes.
It's Bob Spencer being off the wall. We need to ask you, Bob, when you've righted yourself.
Yes.
About your experience.
Bob turning sideways.
Yeah.
No, Bob. No, please stay like that, Bob. Please,
Okay.
please.
And all the meticulous people, they'll be like, "I can't watch it." No.
Yeah. Why do you think I said stay like that? Can you imagine? Everybody's like, I
Imagine
now
if we
have.
did a show. Imagine if we did a show where it just randomizes, turns everybody's camera to a different angle.
And
how many Karens would come out of the woodwork?
Yes, that would mess with a few minds, wouldn't it?
about a couple hundred lawsuits about neck pain.
So,
Bob
Dale,
is
you were
back.
talking about lightgasm before. David, could you give some of the more scientific process of what that lightgasm means? All of us who've operated the light and been on the light understand what it means. But what's going on in the brain when it goes into that hyper mode of joy?
Would you like me to give that answer in Guru of the Light?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Yes.
Both.
Okay, my child.
My child.
When we say when we say lightgasm, an orgasm is the creation of a sexual experience that is made to a climax or brought to a climax. So, as an example, there's a child in the room. Can I believe this? Right. Right. So that is what we know to be an orgasm. For a lightgasm to happen, it is the same process. It is when all neural roads meet at a particular point of center, and then there is an effulgence of energy, a cascading effect of energy, which creates a neural net. Now, in the lightgasm, what happens is that there's a purging of subpar electrical activity that is happening. Your brain is, for want of a better word, turned on to the maximum. Right?
So somebody's giving your third eye a hand job?
We don't use those
giving you a light blow. A light blow.
We don't use that terms. We are servants of the light. Right? And so the lightgasm is a connected neural activity. So as an example, there are 1,000 nodes on your brain stem. Okay? That's what the brain is. There are 1,000 nodes. In metaphysics, we call it Sahasrara, or the crown chakra. Okay? But from a biological standpoint, the 1,000 wives of Solomon is what it's called in Western esoterics. The 1,000 wives are the nodes of your brain. When these nodes are activated for a brief period of time, you have complete brain function. For a brief window of time, you have complete brain function. That is what we call a lightgasm. So let's say that you experience the lightgasm for 0.000001 second. The benefits from the lightgasm will begin to manifest themselves days after the fact. Right? Everybody lives in a perpetual, we've been thrown out of the Garden of Eden, all of us, in terms of our brain function. We only use about 8 to 10% of it. The lightgasm pushes you past that point for electrical and neural activity. Okay? And so you are, for a brief period of time, back in the Garden of Eden of your own mind. The results of that can have effects for you for the rest of your natural life. So a lot of people say, oh, well, is that like nirvana? Well, absolutely. It's in terms of brain biology, it is the nirvana that you're looking for, right? It is the nirvana that you're looking for, but nirvana is not a place to be stayed in. Okay? Because if you had experienced nirvana or whatever, that brief spark of enlightenment, you see it. And once you see it for the first time, you will continue to look for it because you know what it is. There are a whole bunch of people that don't know the Garden of Eden exists, but if you put them inside there, they're going to continue to try to get there. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's the same as a sexual experience. A lot of people don't know orgasm exists, But if you show them a hint of one, it's like all of a sudden you have nymphomania happening.
Like phomanias.
And for that piece of advice, I charge $30. I charge $30.
I thought it was 222 last time.
Come on, my account already.
Bob, tell us some of your experience with the Lucia light, or just in general, since you're on.
So, the Lucia light, when you was doing the psychic surgery with the Lucia light, it was like I was part of the team where I was seeing it on the different layers of. So I was doing light language one deal where I was having to pull some things out, attachments, some like ex-relationships stuff, and there was some like little naughty bobs. We've got naughty bobs, we have dickhead bobs, and we have broken bobs. I've categorized them, and naughty bobs, broken bobs, and dickhead bobs.
We want to hear all of that.
Yeah, right. So dickhead bobs are the ones that go out drinking, and like you say, there'd be programs in there. So obviously I didn't see any of these programs before I'd done the Lucia light and done the cranial work. And it was when I did the actual Lucia light on my own, when you'd left me, these programs it just came to me, and I thought, well, I'm seeing all these programs now. So I'd see a pair of trainers at my front door, and I'd think, oh, they'd look really nice if I got a pub in them, and I'd be going out to pub. But now I actually see them, and I'm stopping myself and thinking, why am I going to pub? Because there's a brand new pair of trainers at the front door, or little programs which would send me out, the dickhead bob. So I see these now, or the naughty bob, where it's like a sexual thing, where my sex drive, or I'd be going with the wrong kind of people. So that's the naughty
demon
bob.
holes.
the demon holes.
All of this
Stay away from the demon holes. I see the demon holes now, and all I see them. And yes, and not broken bobs are the ones where I've had traumas in my life from childhood and bullying and stuff like that. So I categorize them in, and I didn't see this before I did the combined healing. So I've had quite a lot of growth in that one day with I see these programs now, and it's just like I do work on them. I need to do more. I've obviously started doing fire ceremonies after that, and I've got to do more of these things, but I'm going to do it in January and all, because I definitely need to invest in myself. And this is the thing, it's investing in myself. I didn't see that before either. And that's the thing that has got me, is the fact it's investment in me. So obviously I'm going to find the money just to do it, just to invest.
So Bob, what was unique for me and what made it was so special, because we were speaking to you about these programs, and there was like a realization where you weren't fully getting it. Then it was like, right, what's needed for Bob now? We don't need to do any more work. We just need to get him under the light to absorb light on his own. And he had that unique experience of being by himself, not having any manipulation or just anyone around him at all, just him and the light by himself. And as he finished, I saw this smile, and he goes, I can't believe what I've just seen, bro. I've finally seen these fucking programs. I've never seen them before. And I was just like, yes.
Yeah. And
it was like celebration. He was like, that was so beautiful to see you go through that experience and actually have the revelation of self-exploration, of realizing, holy shit, there's something in my reality which I need to look at now.
Absolutely. And it's like just categorizing them and writing them down. I write them down now and see them.
So Bob, I got a question for you. When you saw that program, you had that revelation, what was the site like? Was it knowingness, vision, all of the above?
Vision, it was when I was 26 years old, and it was it wasn't a dickhead. It was a trauma, and it was a trauma that had brought on. It was when my grandma died, and I'd lied. I was working at this place, and I'd lied about something. It was a funeral, and then she passed away about 2 weeks later, and it was just, the guilt was unbelievable, but she was pretty much, but then that brought on another program of me being a dickhead after that. And it was all these things after, Andrew, which I'd seen. So it was like a vision and a feeling and everything else.
Like a life review of the bad choices you made.
Yes, the bad choices, the flow of bad choices. And it was all like broken Bobs, naughty Bobs, and dickhead Bobs, all three in the same kind of vision.
You know, it's kind of funny that when you have that traffic jam in your head, you can't see the programs. That's the point of it.
Yes.
I was just going to ask Bob
that's
about...
a great way of putting it. Sorry, Amy, just the traffic jam. And it's like you do, obviously, when you see that light and you start seeing the little categories and you see it, but you see it's all jumbled up and you don't know where to put it and you don't know how to process it. But when you see that light and where it just kind of just balance, it just, as you say, it just balances you and you become centered. I think that's the thing.
My question is, that was exactly what I was going to ask you. I wrote down life review. Like, is there a life review kind of like, oh, okay, this is what I did? Is this something where we have, now that Bob sees all the programs, does he write the programs, RIGHT, makes them write it again? Or what does he do with them after he figures this out? I
might actually write them down, and I wrote one down today, which was a new one. It was a stress program, and a stress program brings me just to waffle on about absolute gibberish to someone. So a stress-related thing, and I just start talking, and it was just a thing that I thought, why have I just spoke to this person about absolute gibberish? And it was because of stress-induced program, and that was a new one today.
And that just talk to occupy time.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is an avoidance mechanism, which is, again, just more ways to cover up what's going on. It was a cover-up program.
Right, cover up, yes.
Wow. Okay. So you have to dig deeper. So you do dig deeper and deeper. The light just helps you get there quicker, in a way.
I reckon so. Yeah. I mean, I reckon that's exactly it. Yeah.
The light is the hilty to that construction in your brain.
Yeah.
And then there are a few of them are solved right away just by seeing them. Because once they're seen, they're solved.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if you had to, go back and kind of...
It's both. There are obviously ones you go back, and what Bob's going through is the longer term process of going through the system for multiple days. Now, weeks later, it's still affecting him because he knows there are things there. He knows how to calm the brain down enough to get back to that state. Okay. Well, the other aspects of the treatment, the pulse electromagnetic therapy combined with the flotation tanks, really did a whole lot of stuff for his body chemistry, which was no longer conducive to brain fog.
Okay. Well, I have another question. Sorry, this keeps going. Okay, so Bob, if you were to put Bob on do you put him on that EEG that you have, David, EKG or whatever? EEK? What is it?
I think I've been on everything.
What is that? No, what is that? What is that? What's the thing that shows your brain response?
No, we don't have an EEG as yet, right? We don't have an EEG, but the only reason why we need an EEG, is for proof purposes and for research purposes. But if you are underneath the light, you can. There are two ways of getting data, Amy. The first way is by getting qualitative data from the individual, like we're talking to him to gain his experiences. And quantitative data is what you're asking about, as in what the peaks and the lows and the charts and stuff like that. And so when it is that you're dealing with light experiences, it's different for everyone, okay? Because everyone has different programs. And remember, we're jackhammering through the traffic jam. And so for Bob has a bunch of dickhead programs inside there, okay? Half of the problem is that when you have a bunch of other thoughts going on and anxieties and other stuff going on, you can't see it, right? So we have to take qualitative data specifically from Bob, because when it is that we ask him, so how's life in your ocean? How's the tide in your ocean? So when we ask Bob, how's the tide in your ocean, right? And he says, yeah, brand new shoes, I'm going to the pub, right? There's an association there. I would love to, but this is not the show for it. But I'm like the scientific part of me wants to really understand that association.
Well,
but what go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask. Okay, let me see if I can ask this. The machine that you're talking about that measures the brain. We saw the waves, right?
Yes, EEG, electroencephalogram.
If you put Bob on that machine the first day, and now today we put him on the machine, will it tell his brain? Will it look the same or better than it did when he first started?
I understand. Okay, yeah. I think that it would be less phalluses in the in the reading. I think there would be less phallic neural activities in the reading. But the thing about it is that when you jackhammer through some of the programs that we're talking about, the spikes and the lows and the jumble up, the great unjumbling. Thank you, Tina. All right, the great unjumbling. What it does, it allows people to peter off. So the average person is going through massive spikes and lows neural activity. So right now you could be talking to me, Amy, but you could be thinking about grocery. What you having for dinner? Did I have lunch yet? What am I going to have? I got to check a few things, right? Right. Who's going to piss me off today? That kind of thing, right? Right. Is the dog in the room? These kinds of things are going through your head, right? And they may be blocking little phallic things that are happening in the background, And so what he's describing is every day what people go through. There are a whole bunch of people who are surprised when they do something dickhead. Okay? It's like, but why did I do that? Because it was mass. It crept up on you, right? There are lots of people, like, this has nothing to do with Bob, but there are lots of people that are accidental assholes. like they'll be walking down the street and be, oh shit, I did something like a total asshole. Like, I don't know why I did it. Right? I'm not sure why. This is not me. I don't understand. You experienced an accidental asshole recently. You, Andrew, and I talked about that guy. Okay, right? He'd be fine. He'd be fine talking, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of a show or something, he just turns into a raging asshole. And he doesn't know why, because it's blocked from him. And so, how does that represent? How does that represent on an EEG? Is what you're asking.
Yeah.
You see those spikes that we're looking at? Mm-hmm. The spikes that are going up in the red, right? They're at a particular frequency. We found, right, generally speaking, science has found when you are firing at a particular level, it's difficult to be an asshole. Okay? When you are firing low down here and it's jumbled up and it's mixed inside of there, right? It is easier for you to be an asshole because your sense of perception, your awareness, right? All the things like the dog in the room and all those things are not hiding things that are creeping up on you. It's like being in a room with a bunch of people. Somebody can creep up on you easily, right? When the room is clear, I can see who may be coming in the room. But if this was a party, I'm having a party here, and I'm on the show with y'all, anybody can creep up on me, right? And then partially possess me and say, today I have Tourette's. Like, screw everybody. Oh, sorry. How did that happen? You know what I mean? So people have mental Tourette's, and honestly, that's what the light does. It regulates the peaks, right? So you can separate them so you can see what's in the trenches when you are floating up here and you're looking down there like, oh shit, I didn't know I was a dick. Wow. But knowing that you are a dick means that you can do something about it.
Yeah.
And when I did the cranial with Laura, that was another thing. There was a lot of release with like relationship stuff, and with everything, that was another kind of, there was more release with the cranial. It was like not seeing the programs, it was just a natural release of what needed to be released there, wasn't it, Laura? It was like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was getting visions, I was getting things, and obviously there was traumas in there, which was just getting, and I felt everything, some slight visions, but it was more feeling. And obviously it was like you was just talking me through it, really, wasn't you? I was just like,
I have a
that
feeling
is
that
part of doing. Sorry.
I have a feeling that it doesn't cause you an overwhelm to see all of these things coming in, Bob.
The light is already balancing the overwhelm state. It's making sure the overwhelm state doesn't take over. The light's not giving you one frequency, giving you dozens of frequencies at a different sections. Like it may give you this frequency for 7 seconds and give you 22 seconds off, give it to you for 17 seconds, give you 1 second off. So the bodies can't build up a resistance to the frequency changes.
That's what I was wondering.
What you guys were talking about before brought up an interesting aspect. Can the EEG show the program turn on and turn off?
Mm-hmm.
And can you recognize a program through the EEG rating? That's ultimately what we wanted to do by having the EEG all the way through the system, so we can identify through the personal references what was going on in this particular timestamp of a spike. Like if we were seeing what that was saying and what those frequencies, like the inner, everybody's got an inner asshole. Both Dale and I have talked about it. We overschedule ourselves. Okay. And I told Dale, it's my inner ass who overschedules myself up to the day I had to leave before the last tour. Dale did the same thing. Okay. Recognizing that in ourselves when a program is turning on, especially if it's a heavy duty traumatized program, like somebody who's been through heavy abuse as a child, the range of frequencies that will be that program will be radically different than their normal brain pattern.
Oh, okay.
And related to CST, Amy, it is such a gentle, non-invasive, allowing people to talk like Bob did, and then guiding them through the trauma release. And a big thing you're taught at CST is to meet the client where they're at. Yes. So as not to overwhelm them, not to put words in their mouth, not to pass on any of your practitioner sort of agendas, but just really to be really present with them. And where they need to do things to just be there with them, which is what, it was a beautiful co-creation with Bob, as it was with others. But because he'd done other modalities on that day, it does aid in that trauma release, and it's not overwhelming. And the other thing about the programs, just wanting to say this, is what I like, Bob, is you're doing what I do this as well, as I call them out. So you recognize when a program's coming up, like when you're seeing your new trainers at the front door, you're actually recognizing, and that is so much of the work there.
Well, the new trainers are at the back door now. The new trainers are at the back door, so I can't.
Okay,
no way
you've
getting
moved
out
them.
The back door.
Okay.
I've come on immensely.
I have so many questions.
You acknowledge it, the fact that you see it.
Yes. Is that where you do your ancestral healing, balancing, Laura? The CST part? CST?
Yes, mostly.
Is that where you do that?
Yeah, sometimes I just do a hands-on, like an energy thing. But when you think that all the healing connects deeply to your cellular structure, and that's where your DNA is, and that's where your ancestors are, that's where the balancing occurred, and it's the intention I go in with as well. So it might not be a purely CST move or hands-on, but that, because I've developed my own sort of way of doing CST as well, adapting to different clients' needs of the moment. It is very much a need of the moment at times as well, the way Dale works. And then together we find the work is really potent. The cranial sacral with the soul surgery is really effective.
Really effective.
As Bob knows.
We had it was a lady came who had trauma, and at the start I could see it, but I could see it was really deeply layered within her. But she came on a combination, I think it was of 2 days. The first day to the second day, there was a point in time where she had a somatic release, where me and Laura were doing work. She was doing the cranial, I was doing the surgery, and the light was just doing what it needed to do. And it was able to give her that release, and the amount of purging what came out of her body, and that release was there, and it was phenomenal. Like, that was probably one of the most profound healings I've been part of. One I'll always remember, because there was a release at the throat, there was a release on the tailbone, the hips, but there was a scream, and it was like a beautiful scream though, because it was a trauma finally being released from her, really deep in, and it was like a rhythm I was going into where I had to work in one way with the feet, go follow it up to the spine, go back and continue to do it. And as Laura was doing the release of the cranial and all the great work she was releasing, I met Laura at the neck as well, and it purged and pushed, and the light worked in a like symbiotic way, and this huge purging came out, and I was like, holy fuck, this is incredible. I've not seen anything like this before.
Sam.
Yes.
It was Sam. There's actually, if anyone's interested, a half-hour YouTube testimonial that's on YouTube on Andrew's.
Explain a somatic release, because maybe some people don't know what that is. Or what is it? Is it in the body? Is it
emotional release? Yeah. So from craniosacral therapy terms, we hold trauma in the body, and we hold it in the form of an energy cyst so that the body can actually handle it and deal with it. So even if, say, you've fallen on your back, the trauma might be held somewhere else in your body in the form of an energetic cyst. And craniosacral practitioners will look over the body. It's intuition as well, to find where the it's where the vibration is higher, and locate an energy cyst, and then work with the client to remove that. So we usually try and take it back, ask them the association. So what's this cyst associated? Can you talk to the cyst? Tell us, what's happening, what it's there for. And quite often they can take you back to an accident in childhood or something else. And then you work with them and talk them through it. And the somato, the body, is then able to release it. It doesn't always happen on the first go. Sometimes you have to have several sessions with somebody. But then the release is really evident, because they can cry, they can scream, they can shudder, or just something as gentle as a sigh. So you have to be very attentive to how that body, that person is reacting to the speech, to the words they're using. And that's where the speaking to the client using their words helps them talk it through as well. So it is just a release of that trauma.
Wow. Okay.
It's absolutely important, because what Laura is describing, whenever you have trauma and it embeds itself in the body, you don't know it's there. You go through life. And the thing is, it's a reference from the brain. So when you are stressed, because trauma will register as stress. Like, I say something mean to you, Amy, right? Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will do me no harm. That's not true. Today, I have a dickhead like program running, right? I look at my friend Amy, I say, I hate your purple sparkly wall.
I know, you said that. That's not the first time.
So let's say I did that, right? Let's just say that I did that. Let's just say I did that. And I hate your choice of movies, right? Let's say that I did that, right? And she took it the worst way, because she spent hours putting up that purple sparkly wall, right? That went into it, right? And she took it and she embedded it on herself. The person that it's coming from, if she and I are friends, right? The person that it's coming from is going to hit her, right? It might hit her in her heart. It might hit her in the mediastinum, behind the heart, right on the walls of the heart. And she's not going to know it's there until, of course, some CST practitioner puts their hand there and says, tell me, how did you feel when David said that to you? And then when she does that, like when Laura does that, because you went into freeze mode, your body went into this mode when I said it to you, and she does that, you're going to feel it. Like when Dale is doing a psychic surgery, some of the stuff that he's feeling is embedded stuff. The body reacts. It does. It really does. Right? When bad things happen to you, and a lot of people don't realize it, right?
So true.
A lot of people don't realize it. And that's why it's important to uncover these things, because yes, your mind has programs, but that's why CST was important to the system. Because even let's say you go to therapy, with psychotherapy, I sit you down and says, And I say, he really didn't mean, he's just jealous of your sparkly wall because he doesn't have a sparkly wall like yours. And your brain accepts that David is just being a dickhead. Your brain accepts it. Your body does not release it necessarily.
Whoa, that is really big right there, what you said.
Your body doesn't release it. So your mind might say, you're right. David is really jealous of my sparkly wall. He doesn't have a freaking sparkly wall, so he just hates my sparkly wall. Right? Your brain understands it, but your body reacted to it, and it did not release it.
Your body doesn't rationalize it.
Wow.
That's it's just like a deeper level in it. That's it. The release is deeper. It's there, which you need to release from the body. It's like your body cries. It's like when I've had like self-surgery sessions with some people who have had like sexual trauma, and obviously it's when they come out of it and they just start, the body just cries because it's just that release in it. Yeah. It needs to release it. So.
Ooh.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine a bunch of people walking around with bruises that they don't know?
Yeah.
I see it all the time. Yeah. When you do what we do for a while, you see it everywhere all the time. Some people have wounds that are still bleeding and oozing.
Yeah. And some people live their life pushing out adrenaline all day, every day,
Right.
Because they're in panic all the time.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, chemical based.
What happens to a body when you're living like that for years and years and years and years on a road, David?
You age very, very quickly, and it's just a matter of time before your heart gives out. It's just a matter of time, right? Because you never were meant to live like that. You were meant, as I said, to be like when you come out of the therapies. You're meant to be thinking, today I'm not taking the car. I'm just going to fly to Walmart. Right? You're meant to be thinking like that, with expansiveness. But a lot of people they walk around with the world on their shoulders, right? And in their minds and in their body, and everything is encumbered. And to add to that, they might be constipated because they're making bad choices and stuff like that. So everything is just a blocked up mess. It's like, and then this is why it's too much for one practitioner. Does that make sense? You could go to it's too much for one practitioner. You have somebody who's been sexually traumatized, who got raped a little bit later on, and so on, and they're going through divorces and stuff like that. And then you come to a practitioner. How long are you going to stay in that office? That practitioner has 1 hour with you. You've had 20-something years of building upon the shit that you have going on from the initial sensitizing event. And so it's too much for one practitioner. That's why technology was important. It was.
Does this also clear the ancestral pieces that we might not know? Does that make sense? So, like for Bob, he's clearing here now. He's clearing himself here now. Does it clear the ancestral pieces?
Well, those programs are ancestral as well. So all of our programs are passed down from the generation to generation, and those programs are the ancestral karmas, or that's the kind of like, the block on yourself, which you could pick up from your mother, you could pick up from some other relationship. And that's a uniqueness of it. And going back to what I said at the start, was for me when I went through the system and with what was happening with Gabrielle, my ex partner who have gone through divorce, I was able to see it in my reality. And afterwards I left and I go, holy shit, it's been there for so long and I've not seen it. I've been so busy busy doing the combine. I've just, it slowed everything down for me. And there was a realization that something wasn't right in my environment and the way I was living wasn't going to progress my future. So going through this combined therapy, you kind of left with a realization of what true reality is. You kind of get away all the wishy-washy bullshit of delusions, all the paranoia, everything which is blocking you from the unlimited point of view. And you see things which are in front of you and just stopping you from growing. And that was the beauty and uniqueness for me going under it, was me seeing a dream and seeing a future I never saw before I went into it. And like everyone does, they see new dreams again. They see a new reality and a new future they never dreamed before. And that's the beauty and uniqueness of combined therapy, and especially Andrew and having these unique people around us. It's like coming on January, Andrew's going to be there, and myself, Laura, are going to be there. And having those skillful master practitioners around to help while you're going through that state is just, it's unique. Like, you don't get this shit around anywhere else. It really isn't.
Can we do a process of Bob? Because we have counselors on the panel. Bob, you ready?
Well, fire away.
Okay. Simple dyad. But I'm going to do a little bit of a disconnection first of all. So, Bob, look to the left without turning your head. Look to the right without turning your head. Look up and look down. Okay, thank you. I got enough information. Now, Bob, tell me what makes you most sad.
What makes me most sad? I would say when my daughter's upset with me, I get sad.
Why is that?
Because I've done something probably wrong. And she's like my mum. So I think when I've done something wrong, or if I've neglected in some way, that makes me sad. And I see these programs when I do it and all.
Give me an example of something you have done wrong that would make your daughter angry.
It involves alcohol, and yes, and obviously she doesn't like when I drink, so that upsets her. So obviously, when I used to go to the caravan with my friends, and we've got jet skis and stuff, and we used to go to the pub. She'd have sleepovers, and I'd have a drink. She didn't like it, so yes, that's a program which is a biggie for me. That saddens me. That upsets me.
Step out of yourself and tell me how it affects your daughter.
Yeah, I'd say maybe some trauma. How was it affected? Obviously, because it's not me. It's like a dickhead Bob. And she doesn't like dickhead Bob, so it's just dickhead Bob. So these are the... Is that answering the question, David, or not? That one, no?
Tell me how she feels.
How she feels? Frightened. Yeah, frightened.
Tell me how you feel about that.
I feel disappointed in myself. I feel I've let myself down and let her down. Yes. Yeah, just really, really disappoint myself.
Do you love her?
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much?
10.
So you can't feel good about that, correct?
No.
Do you see the program that's running you right now?
The dickhead program, which is there about
alcohol, correct?
Yes, alcohol.
So if you love her at 10, what does the dickhead program do to make you go use alcohol? What are you coping for?
I'm hoping that I don't drink at all around my daughter anymore.
Why do you drink at all?
Good question. Because I've just had a month off and felt really good. And then I've let myself down this weekend and seen the dickhead Bob. And I was out of control with it. This is the thing. It's the control. I can't control. I need to be more disciplined.
I'll change the question. What would make you most happy?
To stop drinking.
What would make you most happy in the entire world? If you had your way, magic wand, I give it to you. You can create your own reality. You can do whatever you want, have whatever you want.
For my daughters to be happy, comfortable in life, and me have a family network around me, which I'm not single. I'm not lonely, and a good team around me, a support team.
So, Bob, do you think you drink and you go out with your friends because you're lonely?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that's the program. That's what's running you, and so on. So here are the things that I can tell you right now off the top of my head, now that we've got that information. You're a good guy because you're actually caring enough, right, to see the programs, right? The loneliness part is solved because you're blocking it from happening because the alcohol is not helping. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's giving you a cycle of self-worth issues coming back at you. Okay? Like you let yourself down and you're thinking less of yourself. Because you're thinking less of yourself, you're going to not be able to manifest / attract, just from an energetic point of view, what you want. Okay? And because of that, it's actually blocking your, for want of a better word, I'm going to say it. Oh my God, I'm going to say it. Your magic is blocking your magic from happening. So if you want to put that out there in the world and you want to attract things to you, you got to clean that slate. Okay? So this process is one way of looking at it, right? The Dickhead Bob, the light shows you what it is, right? We're just helping you manifest and regulate that. When you want to manifest the reality that you are, the magic wand, as the case may be, you need to have a few things cleaned. You're damaging yourself when it is that you think less of yourself.
Yes.
No, because we can see you. We can see you, Bob. You're a good guy. Like, I would want to go to the pub with you, but then I don't drink, so I'm going to have pineapple juice.
You can still go to the pub but not drink. That's the thing.
Right. I'm gonna have a pineapple juice. But honestly speaking, you're going to block your sovereignty if it is that you don't clear out some of this stuff. Make sense?
Yes.
The thing about misery, it's a disease, you know. Misery and sadness is a disease. Once it attaches itself to you, it drags you down bit by bit. See it? Get rid of it. Okay?
Yes.
There's a giant world out there. Right? Get rid of it. And then you can do other things.
Manifest.
Right?
Well, that's the thing, David. I need more hobbies, you see. I play table tennis, so I'm going to do more tournaments next year. I'm just going to do more positive things. So I've got a list. So there is things I am working on. To playing the guitar, I'm going to play the guitar. My friend's going to teach me how to play the guitar, so I'm going to do that in the week.
Okay.
So I'm just hobbies in the week just to keep me occupied and just do my soul surgery more. I do my clients on a night, and that's my passion, as you say. So I need to just do more.
Anything that is going to make you get out into the community more and get out there more, right, in a positive space, is a good thing. Really, it is. Right? I don't know if anybody else on the panel wants to jump in here. Like Amy, what you have the most prolific social life. Anybody that I have ever met. So you advise.
I don't know. My goodness, I guess I just do things that make me happy, like things that feel good, things that I don't know, I want to learn. Like I'm always in that kind of David teaches me a lot too. Everybody on the panel teaches me a lot. So being in that kind of community helps. So it feels like you are building that community for yourself.
My advice is go see Godzilla -1. Outstanding movie and a blow away anything woke Hollywood has put out in 5 years.
Which one was that? Tell me, Andrew.
The new Godzilla movie from Japan called Godzilla -1. So it's not an American movie, wholly Japanese, created by Toho Productions. And it's kicking Disney's box office records because Disney's had 7 flop, $300 million movies flops in a row. And they produced this movie for $12 million, and it's already made like $70 million.
Wow.
In the U.S. offices.
Amy, I guess that movie's going into the community.
Is that movie going to the community? Yes. Andrew's recommendation. Let's put it in there.
Another one, if you're looking for a Christmas movie, 2 years ago during COVID, a movie came out with Mel Gibson as Santa Claus called Fat Man. It is a Christmas movie, but it's a Christmas assassin movie.
Oh,
really cool.
Wow. Okay, we're doing Christmas this month.
So, guys, we're coming to the end of the show. So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Bob, for coming on. Laura, do you want to talk about spaces for January, what we've got left?
Yes, we have some spaces between the 15th and the 27th. 1, 2, 3, or 5 day. I mean, we can adjust it to 4 day if you want to do 4 days. So please let me know if you're interested. We have a website. Are we able to put our website link up at all in the chat, guys? Anyway.
Not as yet. I haven't done it yet.
Okay, anyone can just message me, laura2feathers@gmail.com with the number 2. I can send you all the details and give you the link for the website that we have at the moment. And so you can go on, please go on, and if you can, on the website, because David's done a wonderful job of putting up some videos all about everything that we use, the PEMF, craniosacral therapy, the Lucia light, and so on. So there's videos there you can watch, and so you can get to know more about what we are doing. So yeah, please, anybody who's interested, just contact me. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. So how can people get a hold of you for session, Laura, as well, if they want to have a session?
Say laura2feathers@gmail.com. I like to take you to your ancestral fire to meet your ancestors, which is a speciality of mine. Or if you want to build on your shamanic toolbox, become a shamanic practitioner and bring some magic and amazement into your life, like I've been able to do, then I'll happily give you a session. Just contact me on the email. Thank you.
David,
thanks,
how can people get a hold of you? And what's up coming, David?
I'm sorry, I'm cracking up when Laura said I could take you to meet your ancestors. That sounds ominous as hell. Oh boy, that sounded ominous.
While staying in this life,
I think you meant contact the ancestors. I don't want to meet my ancestors. I'm good. I'm good right now.
You're good ancestors, not the shite ones.
So in terms of contacting me, you could contact me at info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. We have an AI webinar this weekend.
Yes.
For those of you who have businesses, those of you who have businesses and stuff like that, or would like to get into business, those of you who are sitting down thinking about stuff that you would like to do, and you're going to say, I'm going to take next year by storm and everything else. Yeah, okay. Be in that webinar this weekend because we're going to teach you how to do it. And we're going to give you the tools to do it too. We're not going to just talk about, go team, go. None of that crap. None of that cheerleading crap. We're giving you the tools. We're giving them to you for free. So come into the webinar because it's $125. You can come in, but you get the software and everything that you need for marketing. The URL scraper, some of the software is priced, but we're pricing these things at cost. So if you are the kind of person that wants to actually move forward, as opposed to sit down and think about stuff that you would like to do in the future, right? Be in that webinar. And that's basically it for me. I pass the ball.
Thank you, David. Yeah. Andrew, how can people get a hold of you?
They can go to my website, andrewbartzis.com. We are having our new bootcamp product out for those of you who want to begin your basics practice and have all the instruction and all the basics work all in one area. We also have our light language product out there for those of you who are more advanced and want to do that. You could also have a session with me. We have an automated booking system now, so you could just go right to the website and sign right up.
Beautiful. Amy?
Yeah, so I'm the administrator over at the UCM community, and I think that I might be David's administrative assistant. I'm beginning to think that I'm becoming that.
I'll put the book in, okay?
Yeah, so join us over at the UCM community, and I have a show called Unscripted, where I ask a question and we answer it, and it's kind of moving in a different direction as we speak. So come and check it out.
Beautiful. And so if anybody would like a session with me, head over to daletobin.com. I'm going to be offering some past life training in January, which I'm currently just I've done all the writing up for it, but I just need to put it out there. So if you want to learn past life regression for the new year, drop me a message. Also, I will be doing a new show on Sunday, the Dreaming Lodge, it's going to be called, where it'll be an hour of talking about dreams and just stories and having some fun. So thank you everyone, and Bob, thank you for coming on and sharing your
thank you for having me.
Thank you, Bob.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
And for those listening as well, make sure you subscribe, comment, and share this show. We really appreciate your support, and all of those watching. Thank you.